Hello. I switched it up on you. I didn't do the hey.
Hey. I wasn't ready for that.
I'll take. Then when I go Christmas, it'll be.
I know. I was waiting for the kind of ho thing. I didn't get it.
Welcome.
You threw me a curve.
I did.
It.
That's great. You say curveball because that's going to come into play here in a minute.
Yes.
So welcome, guys, as always, to another lovely edition of the WBS podcast. I'm of course the Shmoo. Of course, there's always my bro, my friend, my partner in crime, Matty Vath. Welcome to another wonderful episode.
What's happening, everybody?
With authority, you set that can down.
I'm sorry, apologies.
Like you're excited about that.
I wouldn't say that.
Just saying.
Just by the can. I'm intrigued, not excited.
I'm taking Matty to another level tonight. I'm almost like I'm skipping a couple, just because I want to see where he's at. This is like a test, if you will. This is like a midterm. We do like a midterm here, just to kind of see where your taste.
I never was very good at tests in high school, so this ought to be fun.
So Matthew's going to enjoy. It's called Zoinks. It is an IPA. It's from Iowa Brewing Company out by Cedar Rapids. It's good beer. I like the beer. I've had it many times.
What's the Juicy Session IPA?
So it's so like Juicy is gonna be like a more of a citrusy, like a Session IPA is the kind of a type of brewing process for it.
Okay.
I'm a big Session guy, and yeah, they're good. You're gonna like it.
Okay.
I'm rocking same brewing company, Iowa Brewing Company. This is the Surf Zombies. This is what I like. This IPA. This is actually made with Iowa hops. So the hops in this are from Iowa. So kind of a cool little thing. So little Surf Zombies for me, little Zoinks for Matty. We'll toast this one. See where. I got excited. Woo!
That's probably from the slap on the table.
That's what you get.
It happens.
All right. Cheers, brother. Let's.
Well, it's got good head. I see that.
It's got good.
I've never turned down good head.
Oh my goodness! I haven't had one of these in a minute.
So,
your thoughts?
Heavier than most that you've given me. Of course,
that's an IPA.
That's why you say it's like that. It is actually it's actually pretty good.
I like hearing that. Are we gonna wait till the end to rate like normal, or are you just gonna hit it fresh?
Well, I've had one drink.
Okay.
I think you had to give me a little bit more.
Okay. Well, we'll wait a little bit.
So just give me a minute.
Yeah. So today, today's episode, of course, we were talking about what we should talk about. We haven't really talked about sports yet. That, of course, is one of the things we wanted to discuss on here.
My favorite theme.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of things we can talk about with sports, but we wanted to start because, of course, a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about when it comes to sports is going to be more or less related around our teams. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about who our favorite teams are in all of the leagues, and kind of how we became a fan of that team and why we're a fan of that team. You know, so still abilities to tell some stories. Mine are a little out there in normal. I didn't just get bored.
You range a lot farther
I do,
than most Midwesterner people. Like we're all, same amount of teams.
I'm very.
When you go out,
I
I wouldn't put it too far out there as far as your baseball team.
Yeah. But, so I mean, well now.
Even now. I mean, I still know a lot of people that are like,
well then,
what? It's just, but they're younger than we are, so they didn't grow up watching sports or seeing the sports that that we've grown accustomed to. They just happen to come into the age that this is what we watch.
That logo looks cool.
Yeah, that's not how things work.
That.
Like, you don't know any history to it?
I say we start with baseball. I mean, I think that's the one professional team that you and me agree on.
Now,
well, yeah.
See, I think
today, yeah.
So. Peter and I are both. Now, I have been since I was a very, very young boy. I'm a Cubs fan. Most people are that I know. I know a lot of Cardinals fans, know a lot of White Sox fans, know a lot of teams around the Midwest fans, mostly Cubs, Cards, a few Brewers fans and whatnot. Peter, when I first,
Twins, we get a little bit of.
I know one Twin fan.
Tigers.
I know one. I don't know any Tigers fans.
I know a few.
Well, okay. When it comes to football, I know one Titan fan, one ever.
I do. I also know one Titan. It's probably the same person.
It's not.
Oh, okay. Well then,
When I first met him,
so I know two Titans fans.
well, not when I first met you, but when we first got to talk about baseball, you were actually a Yankee fan.
I was.
And I have never heard, and I've always been wanting to hear the story, is how you became a Yankee fan.
Okay.
Because I would love to hear this. And it's okay.
Strap in, bro. So
I'm not
growing
strapping in anything.
growing up here in Clinton, Iowa, when I was growing up, Oakland Athletics. All right, it's going to get squirrely on you. Just go with it. Oakland Athletics. You had Jose Canseco. You had Mark McGwire. All right.
Tony La Russa
Loved-
type Oakland Athletics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loved watching Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire. More so Jose Canseco.
The Bash Brothers.
Yeah, our first cat I named Jose Canseco Holmes. But I've always been whatever league it is outside of college football. I've always been more of a players guy. Like I tend to focus on a player.
A lot of people do.
Forward. So, but after I kind of got like probably late elementary school, my dad being from upstate New York,
right,
Niagara Falls, I always kind of had that uniqueness because around here everybody kind of looks and it's like, well, how your dad's from New York? What? Like you don't see that a lot around here. So I was like, yeah. So I just kind of became a Yankees fan.
I'll be honest, I did not know your father was from upstate New York until right now.
Niagara Falls, New York.
Though that does put a different story that I do know in very good perspective.
Yeah. So he was there. He moved. Him and my grandma moved here when I was like 11 or 12. But just because he was from New York, I was like, I'm going to be. And I was just getting into watching sports. I'm going to be a Yankees fan. Now, ironically, I said this to my dad. It's like, Dad, I'm going to be a Yankees fan. You're from New York. I'm going to be a Yankees fan. My dad looks me dead in the face like, oh, well, son, I'm a Red Sox fan.
Well, he's a smart man.
So it's like, you got to be kidding me. So, and to this day, that's still a thing. But anyway, so I went a lot of years being a Yankees fan and watching a lot of great players and obviously a lot of World Series. That was a big catalyst. They just kept winning. So, of course, it's always fun to watch the winning team. But as I got into probably my early 30s, I really started to see, and they've always been we have all the money, buying championships. I really started to kind of see that side of it.
George has always been like that.
Well, yeah.
George was always like that.
I started it made it a little harder to watch because I started realizing that because I didn't really get into sports heavy until later, probably in my mid-30s, is before I would really, really watch sports the way I do now. But it's almost got boring. So I'm like, they're just winning because they buy all the best players. So I started watching the Cubbies. I had roomed with a couple of fellas that liked the Cubbies, big Cubbies fans. So I just kind of started following. So I just follow. So of course we get to 2015. And the Cubbies were having a really good season, and I watched them, and they were in the playoffs, and it was a really, really exciting playoffs. They got bumped out, and it happened. But then
2015 season.
I forget who it was. Don't ask. That would be you think about it. Let me know raise your hand when you get there. But then when you get to 2016, you get to April of 2016. Of course, now you remember April of 2016. That's preseason's rolling, and they're spanking home runs like it's going out of style.
My heart was beating from.
So I decided
September.
because I was really unhappy with the Yankees ever since they signed A-Rod. I just wasn't cool with it. There's personal reasons. But I was like,
should be.
I'm going to be, that's it. I hopped on Facebook. I said, so nobody can talk crap at the end of the year if they win this. I'm declaring right now that I'm a Cubs fan. Now, lo and behold, did I know, months later, we would win the World Series.
Right.
So then I came to you. I said, well, and you said, so you're a Cubs fan now? I said, well, I mean, I don't think you can officially become an actual fan, even though I declared it in the year that they win the World Series. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to wait to be an official fan until they don't win it.
Yeah, you have to keep rooting.
Yeah. So
and
I still have.
We went through many, many years. 2003, which was a huge season. I can't remember the last time that I didn't root for the Cubs. It's like the one thing that I do like to say is, as much as I'm a Cub fan, and I've been a Cub fan for as long as I can remember, I am a baseball fan. So when you said there's a lot of people are certain player fans, I'm a player fan. I love certain players. I was a huge fan of Derek Jeter. You go all the way back, Andre Dawson, Mark Grace. Of course, they're mostly Cubs fans. I mean, they range from every team. I'm a huge baseball fan, historian fan. I love baseball. I love playoff baseball. I love competitive baseball. But in the end, my heart bleeds blue for the Cubs.
And red.
Well, of course. But so for many years, I just rooted for the Cubs and rooted for the Cubs.
Yeah. That's how that went.
I do remember when I was a White Sox fan, because I remember being a fan of, at their playing days when I was 7, 8 years old, Frank Thomas, Joey Cora, Ozzie Guillen, Robin Ventura, Blackjack McDowell. These guys were fun to watch, and that's really what garnered my attention at that age. The more I started to watch it, the more I started to watch Ryan, Mark Grace. You get into the history of Ron Santo and Andre Dawson.
Oh, yeah.
And all of that. And then, Coach, you come into the 97, 98 season when you had Sosa and McGuire go back and forth in the home run season.
I remember watching that, too.
And I was just a huge Cub fan. I love the atmosphere in Chicago on the north side. You didn't see as many games as on the south side as you did on the north side, but the atmosphere, the camaraderie of the team, the players that were there, the fun they were having, that just cemented it to me that I was a Cubs fan. And I've been through many, many years of heartbreak, many seasons where you just, in May or June when the season's brand new, you just toss up the white flag and go, all right, we're done.
Though, I think the big thing and that I get out of the Cubs and what I like the most, and I think what drew them initially when I was kind of watching them, a little bit on the side while I was watching the Yankees, if the Yankees lose, man, the fans, myself included, man, how are you losing? But with the Cubbies, though, I can watch a Cubs game, say on a Tuesday night, and they beat the heck out of somebody. I'm like, yes! And then the next night, they get the crap kicked out of them, and I can be like, it's okay, we got another game. I think the heartbeat with the Cubs is a little more soft in the fact that they love the Cubbies. They love their team, and they understand that, look, you're not going to win every one of them. They're just glad when they're doing good.
There's a difference, though, between actual baseball fans and Cubs fans. I will say this. I know Cubs fans. I know Cardinals fans that do this. I know Cubs fans that do this. I really know Yankees fans that do this. When objectivity is a huge thing, and they have the ability. Some people have the ability to do it. Some people don't. You have to take your personal feelings out of it. If the Cubs are sucking, I'll be the first to tell you they need to play better. Otherwise, you ain't going to beat anybody. But some people don't seem to get that. They're like, well, it's the ump's fault or it's his fault. Football goes a long way in that too. Goes way farther than baseball. But some of the best baseball games I've ever seen, and I'll tell you right now, are Cardinals games that are just playoff baseball, that are some of the best baseball games. It's just, that's a great baseball game. And people are like, it's a Cardinals game. How can you say that? Because I'm a baseball fan.
Yeah.
I might love the Cubs, but this is
a
baseball This is a baseball game.
I watch the Cubs.
Playoff baseball beats all.
Yeah, playoff baseball, I can sit down and watch it.
It's amazing.
So you said football, so...
Actually, before you go, the best playoff series in baseball you've ever seen. I can tell you right off the top of my head.
I can't tell you the year. Actually, I can't. I think it was 01. And ultimately, we lost. As a Yankees fan, we lost, but it was Yankees Diamondbacks.
You did lose the 0-1 World Series.
But that World Series was so good.
Okay, so the greatest postseason series I've ever seen.
Also,
and I will watch it. No, even better than this. And that was the second best.
Okay.
The best one I've ever seen. Series was a 7-game series. 04, Yankees Red Sox. The year Red Sox came back from 0-3 down to win 4 in a row. YouTube has it on their thing. 4 days in October, they can make a movie about it. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Just the drama, the build-up to each game, the calls, the in-house drama to each game. It was just, you literally were on your edge of the seat.
Kind of funny.
The entire time.
It's funny, your two favorite series are both GM'd by Theo Epstein.
That's not funny. I mean, it's not a funny thing. Theo Epstein is probably one of the greatest baseball architects I've ever seen.
The greatest.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I agree with that. That's true. So, you mentioned football earlier. So I was thinking a different way, but we're going to go football. This is where you and me start to differ a little bit. So I, of course, led the last one. I have another fun story for this one too, but we're going to let you go first. So
because your fun story trumps like my team.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
so your team.
So I was born and bred into a family of Packer fans. My grandfather, of course, my father, my brother, both my uncles, all three of my uncles, everybody but my cousin Justin, who we're all Packers fans. He's a Vikings fan.
And a Falcons fan. Well, growing up,
he was a Vikings fan until he grew up to the point where we kicked him out of the state, and he had to go down to Atlanta.
And I don't think I know, and I know a lot of people. I don't think that I know a family that is more team oriented. Outside of maybe, I do know one. I'm not going to say their names because they aren't.
Well, we've grown together, but at the same time grown apart. Because as you grow older, you lose objectivity. Like my father, my favorite person in the world will be like this. They just suck, and I'm like this. Like you don't even watch. So how are you gonna tell them they suck?
I can see your dad doing that too.
My brother, who I love to death, is way less objective toward them than I am. He's objective toward them to a point. Like when they lose, it's their fault, and I can tell you why it's their fault. I can tell you what they didn't do or why they didn't do it or who's playing like crap. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. I don't like the Bears. I don't like the Vikings. I really don't like the Lions. I don't like anybody else. I'm a Packer fan. I bleed green and gold when it comes to professional football. However, I let my personal feelings go when it comes to watching them because it's like you have to when you're going to be objective about sports. You have to objective about anything really. You have to let your personal feelings go, and they are a phenomenal organization. I've fell in love with that from the city. I've gone to Green Bay. I've watched. I've stood outside and stood in front of the statue of Vince Lombardi. I've stood outside of Lambeau Field, which I consider the second mecca of football fields, just because it's been there for so long. It's one of the second oldest stadiums there. I've been through the history of their Hall of Fame, which is the Lombardi trophies, their Hall of Fame. Just, Don Hudson and Curly Lambeau, Reggie White, all the way up to Brett Favre, and now you got A-Rod. It's just a monumental thing of history and I'm a big historian. I love history. My son will tell you that. That was my favorite subject in high school growing up. I love history. Now, when you get into sports history, I'm huge into that because I will indulge into whatever I have, whatever sport team that I love, and I will find it. That's what grows my love for that. So Green Bay is just huge to me. It's one of my favorite places to be. I don't like to drive up there. I don't like to drive a half an hour. So to drive 5 hours to see a football game is not fun. But once you get there, I could spend an eternity up there. I could live up there. That's one of my favorite places to be. Green Bay, Wisconsin is absolutely a beautiful place to be.
I'm not a fan of lake effect snow. Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of snow either, but I could live if it's in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Mike Holmgren Way, Vince Lombardi Avenue.
Hell yeah.
You can bring that all day.
Too, even
a chance to run into A-Rod.
And even not a Green Bay fan, I think, to me, even I can recognize that. And I think that's part of being from around here. I think the Packers and there's all that.
Well, see, if you were to
have to understand from the Packers organization, that's a lot of history. That's like a lot of where really football's roots come from. I mean, you've got the Packers, you've got the Steelers, and you've got the Cowboys.
You could go into not to steal your thunder, but if you could go into your team, to be from Denver, you're talking.
How are you going to give it away like that?
How
you're going to give it away?
You're talking John Elway, because I'm a sports historian. You're talking John Elway, Mike Shanahan, Terrell Davis, my main man, one of the guys that I watch every day, Chef Shay Shay and Shannon Sharp.
There you go.
My man, oh my God, I love those guys. I love Shannon Sharp. I love them. That was a football team that beat my football team. and I still love it because you're looking at all these Hall of Famers, Ed McCaffrey and Steve Atwater.
Listen, it's too soon. We can't say that yet. That's
I
too
love
soon.
Ed McCaffrey.
I did. I will again, but after that Rose Bowl, I'm still just.
Oh, I love his son too. His son is a absolute monster. Plays for the Carolina Panthers, but dude, you have to respect talent where talent is, and that boy is 100% pure athletic talent.
So, now that you've given it away,
Sorry.
but it's funny because again, you and me, Cubs.
Well, this is the story that I wanted to hear.
And you and me have we have a connection onto how this fandom happened. Because this was in
because this is actually how you became
this
a Broncos fan.
So we'll come back.
One
to
of
this,
the darkest days of my life.
1997 is the year. So we'll go back again. Talking with baseball, I was not really big as a kid into sports. It was my thing. I just was kind of a player's guy. I collected baseball cards, and whatever the baseball card I had, it was like that's what I'm watching. So I get late elementary school and middle school. Of course, now the Cowboys are like the team. You got Emmitt Smith, you got Drake, you got all them out there. Michael Irvin. I mean, you got all these people. So again, I apparently kind of gravitate towards money.
They were all
teams.
great. Dion was what made that team.
Well, fair enough.
Prime time.
So my buddy, a good buddy of mine, Miss Fenzel, he for years became really good friends in middle school. We're still friends to this day. And he was always like, you should be Denver fan. You should be Denver fan. Like, whatever. And then, the Cowboys stopped winning, but he kind of kept, you should be Denver fan. His dad was a big Denver fan. So they were both just going to go super Denver, Denver. So like, okay, blah, blah, blah. Well, fast forward to, it would have been my junior year of high school, so 97, 98. And the Super Bowl that year was your Green Bay Packers versus my now Denver Broncos. And I told Fenzel, because the Broncos had a phenomenal year that year.
It was a great game, too.
They made the Super Bowl. And Fenzel was just hammering me all season. You should be. So I told him right then and there, 1997, 1998. I'll tell you what, they win this whole thing. It's mid-season. Like, they win the whole thing, Broncos fan for life. No questions asked. Never looking back. Of course, we're going to halftime. John Elway leaps into the end zone, gets helicoptered, scores a touchdown, and we never look back.
You don't have to bring up actual parts of the game. I watched
that. But here's why. I have to bring up that play because that play right there is what I knew. I knew it right then and there. I'm like, yep. And so I have dutifully been a Broncos fan ever since. Okay. And I've been fortunate enough to see John Elway win, a couple Super Bowls.
2.
I was fortunate enough to see, of course, we got Peyton Manning and saw him go to 1. We don't talk about the outcome of that one because it was disgusting.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was horrid.
He thanks you, Peyton.
And then, but Super Bowl 50, of course, got the same.
Actually, he thanks you, Von Miller.
Yeah. And that is how it was kind of almost like I was challenged to become a fan of that.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that I don't give you a lot of grief for being that is you literally had 2 years in the 90s and 2 years in the mid-2010, 15, whatever. And I've literally had 30 years of Hall of Fame quarterback play to where we're always somewhere, unless they get hurt, in there. And then I like this. Hey, it's okay. I still am very critical of my quarterbacks and my entire team, but I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to be like when A-Rod leaves because I've gone from Brett Favre to A-Rod and Washington. It's like, what are we going to do when this guy leaves? Because the chances of finding the third one to just keep that rolling.
Listen, they got a good draft pick this year.
No, they didn't. They didn't have a great draft at all. It's been 12 games. Neither one of them has seen the fucking practice field.
Oh, well, we'll see.
No, stupid. It was the dumbest draft ever. The dumbest draft ever.
So, well, I'll tell you what. Let me take you out of your.
You're gonna make me angry.
I'm gonna bring you back in.
All right.
Forget this professional football stuff. Let's go. Let's go to the bread and butter.
I think
bread and butter.
Most of our listening audience would know that.
Would occur? They would occur to listen. I hope so.
Shut up. Most of them would know that the both of us, if you ever follow Pete on anything, Facebook, social media-wise, myself, social media-wise, we, before Green Bay, before Denver, before the Cubs, before whatever, the Yankees, we bleed black and gold. Like,
we ain't talking Pittsburgh.
We are from Iowa. We are Hawkeye fans.
We are in the Hawkeye State.
That is my favorite thing to root for ever.
Yeah, Hawkeye State.
When
Not
I
Cyclone
said
State,
when
Hawkeye
I
State.
said I consider Lambeau Stadium the second mecca of football stadium, that's because Kinnick Stadium is the holy grail to me.
I'm a cheers
that
on
is
that.
where you go.
I'm a cheers on that.
That is the only place to go. Especially, not only do you now have that, you have one of my favorite sports traditions is the wave.
How cool is that?
I think that is one of the most amazing things ever.
Like Iowa for so many years, and we've always been, we've never been the Alabama. We've never been the Notre Dame. We've never been that team. We've had flashes of brilliance. We've had years where
I think
we've
you've had
looked
flashes
really, really
of
Well,
I don't want to say luck, but you've had flashes of consistency where it's paid off.
Yeah.
Because we've
And
always
then-
been from Hayden Fry to Kirk Ferentz. You've always been that team. Like we don't
rounded
deviate from
up. Yeah.
6 seconds of hell defense. We don't deviate from power running the football, play action pass to open it up. We breed offensive linemen for the NFL.
And?
We breed tight ends for the NFL.
Attaboy.
We have backup quarterbacks in there. We have backup cornerbacks. We have backup wide receivers in there. We have actual wide receivers in there. We have cornerbacks in there that are starting with Desmond King, my man. One of my favorite guys. Still, he might be playing for the Titans now, but he was one of the top-rated corners in football.
We had Tyler Sash. God rest his soul.
Tyler Sash, yes,
We had Tyler
God bless
Sash.
you.
I mean, you had that Indiana game on Halloween, Trick or Treat, Iowa City.
Oh, my.
Come on, the pinball interception.
See, and I love, and Green Bay has been a place for many Hawkeyes to go.
Abdul Hodge.
Brian Balaga was one of my favorite. Abdul Hodge. You had Josh Jackson, who's playing there now. Micah Hyde, who was my favorite five-tool player ever. Green Bay, I will never forgive you for letting him go. Ever. Because he's still a Pro Bowl player.
Oh, yeah.
He was the greatest five-tool player, could play everything on the backside of defense. You have players like that are just going to resonate. And one of my favorite quotes ever, when they were talking on ESPN one time, they were talking to Bill Parcells, and Bill Parcells is the Hall of Fame coach. You want to know a football program in college that just churns out NFL players, or like an NFL player factory? He goes, go to Iowa.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They
that's-
run pro-style offense, pro-style defense, and they're coached well.
Yes. They're coached consistently.
Right. You may not like them every year because they may not follow what you do, but they are consistent. It's like Novocaine. Eventually, it will work. And there are years where it doesn't work because it just doesn't go well. And there are years where it works to the point where we're 12-0 and playing, who was it?
Stanford.
No, we played Stanford because we lost.
To Christian McCaffrey.
No, we lost to, who did we lose to in Indianapolis? Michigan State? Yeah. 22-play drive on defense, which is the only thing like this. Well, of course, after 22 plays on defense, our defense is going to be tired.
Yeah.
But we had that. We opened up that C.J. Beathard to Smith on a 85-yard bomb. Like, come on. We had that.
Love it.
It was beautiful.
We could do a whole episode on the Hawkeyes.
Oh, God, I could.
We could do a 2-part episode on the Hawkeyes.
I could do a fucking week on the Hawkeyes, bro.
Well, I know we're going to start recording. And I'm sure our producer would be fond of that because she, of course, is a big Hawkeye fan as well. So you kind of.
Graduated there.
Oh, shit.
I know, I
did?
love it. I would love to. You know what I'd love to have on
Oh,
here? Not even if I would. I mean, if you could get like Kirk Ferentz in here, that'd be great. But if you could get Brian Ferentz in here, I would love to talk to Brian.
I'm telling you right now, Kirk, I love you. Captain Kirk, I love you. I would actually rather talk to Brian. Because I think he could tell you stories of Kirk.
No, I'd rather talk to Kirk.
of-
Because everybody questions Kirk, and it's like this. You don't question the man leading
see,
this.
and
You
here's
never
the thing,
question
so-
Moses until stuff didn't go right. All of a sudden, it's like this.
So-
No, you don't question Moses. When he parts the river, he parts the river.
So my
Or
big
the sea.
one, my big one was this. So you get, if you get into, oh my God, it was awesome. Moses. Oh, thank you.
Hey,
buddy.
you may not agree with everything he does,
No, it's good.
but when he parts the Red Sea and he leads you into the Big Ten championship games, you're like this. Oh, yes, Kirk. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's like this. Oh, now you're thanking me. Right.
So
I got
my
you.
big one was, and I've had the opportunity with some friends of mine to meet Division I football head coaches. They were at the other school in Iowa. But
Well, I don't hate on any other schools in Iowa. It's like I understand that.
yeah,
As again, I'm a football
Focus.
fan. However, in the state of Iowa,
that's all guys.
there's still Iowa State. There's still Northern Iowa. I went to Iowa. I went to Northern Iowa.
Anyway,
Iowa State might be like the third because it's red. Headed steps out.
yeah.
But
Literally.
still an Iowa school. So,
I mean, I lived in Ames for 7 years.
so if they're not going to face Iowa, you're going to go face Oklahoma or you're going to go face Texas A&M or whatever. I'll root for you. But
And I'm the same way. I really am. I like to give a lot of hard time. But I had one of my best friends. He was at my wedding. I was at his wedding. And he was an offensive graduate assistant for them. So with that, I met, the head coach at the time. There was, prior to that, working for a company out there. I met, actually, two companies I worked for out there. I was able to meet. I met the women's head basketball coach. I met the men's head basketball coach. I met,
at Iowa State.
Yeah, Big Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Big Dan.
Really?
Good. We became friends.
Wow.
It got to the point where he would come to shop at this store that I worked at, and when he would get there, he would have to call his wife, and then he would have to hand the phone to me, and she would set his budget. Like, okay, Peter, Dan only gets to spend X amount of dollars, and that's how it would be. Cale Sanderson, I met him.
Oh, that would be huge.
Yeah, I met him at this place. Wonderful guy. But yeah, so I think seeing that, kind of getting to know those guys, I've seen kind of the other side of what it's like to be a head coach. Not actually be a head coach, but to see them on the other
Right.
side of it, not just on TV, not as being a fan of, but to see them in real life. And I tell you, man, it's tough. It's not easy. I would show up to campus at Iowa State and handle my buddy, and he's running playbook plays. I'd sit with him until 2:30, 3, 4 in the morning, running, doing playbook stuff. And then all the other coaching staff say, hey, see you later, blah blah blah. And it's just they're there and they support you. And they hang out in the office with us, they bring us food.
Well, as much as we
Yeah.
talk about like Hawkeye football, I bleed black and gold no matter whether it's football, basketball, wrestling. I love it. I think you don't ever have to worry about those head coaches worrying about anything like football. Like you had Hayden Fry, and now you go into Kirk Ferentz. But
Sound like
where,
going from Brett
where-
Favre to Aaron Rodgers.
but where, yeah, right. But where have we been in the life of Hawkeye basketball?
Listen, so I'm gonna
Steve Alford,
hold on.
Todd Licklider.
Edit this out. I'm gonna pause you because listen, we could go all day on Iowa hockey. So I think there's an episode upcoming. I think we're gonna do.
But I think
it's gonna be
that's where I talk about the
all
points. Like
hockey.
these coaches
Yeah.
need to worry about because like their
Yeah.
lifespan in their sport
Oh, yeah.
is, and especially in college basketball, is not as big as college football.
No, never. Never.
Kirk is longest tenured head coach in college football.
Yep.
Nobody bigger.
Fourth highest paid. Fifth highest paid.
Yeah, but he's the longest tenured. Nobody's been there longer. So not even Nick Saban, anything
Yeah.
like that.
So
But you've been through how many basketball coaches? And I was a big fan of Todd. I was a big fan of Steve Alford until things went downhill because his shit just didn't go the way it should.
I actually met up with Steve Alford in New Mexico. He was out there one year and they did really well in the Final Four.
Oh, no kidding.
That's a story for a different day.
Yeah,
so,
that is a story for a different day.
On that note,
We have with this kid, too.
We've reached the time. It's my least favorite time, really. Just when we're saying goodbye. Means we're done.
Yes, but we get to grade with the beer you
We
just
do.
gave.
So yeah, we have this is some of Maddie's favorite parts of this because this is kind of really shining him. So
I do this.
We're gonna go step one, the Zoinks Juicy Session IPA. From
Now, last
Iowa Brewing
week-
Company.
Last week we moved from a scale to 1 to 10.
We went from 1 to 5. Now this week we have gone to 1 to 10. So okay, on the scale we got a bench-
last week was the last week of 1 to 5.
that was the last 1 to 5. So we got a benchmark again. 1 to 10. Coors Light is
45.
okay. So 45.
Well, wait a minute.
Gotcha.
That's 1 to 10
1 to 10.
because they were the 45 on 1 to 5.
Okay.
Well, then they're a 90.
Okay, so 90. Let's use last week's Sandy Shore from Lake Time Brewery.
That was on 1 to 5. I gave them an 8.
Yeah, so this is a 1 to 10. Now you gotta stay within 1 to 10. Within 1 to 10, what do you give it?
I give it an 8.
Give it an 8?
I liked it. I mean, it was
Yep.
actually, you upped me on this one. It was,
Oh, you're giving this one an 8.
Yeah, this one.
You're giving the Zoinks an 8.
Yes. Well,
I'm proud of you.
yeah, I liked it.
That's a
I think
big
it was.
score.
I think it was.
That's a big score for you.
I think it was delicious. I mean, you're only talking 4.5. What was last? I remember what last week's was.
Yeah, about the same.
But this was a little heavier.
It's an IPA, so
This was a little heavier than what I drank last week.
You're getting into my world, so
and it was still
hoppy beers.
The thing that I liked about it a lot, the most, is I didn't pay attention. It tasted good, so I didn't pay attention to it while I was drinking it. So while we sit there and had a conversation, it went down like a regular beer, and I loved it. It was delicious.
You're gonna learn.
This is actually one that, if I was paying attention, and this is kind of the stuff I was out there buying, when I go to Hy-Vee or whatnot, I would pick it up.
There you go. I like it.
I think it's pretty good.
So, well, good. So, Zoinks Juicy Session IPA from Iowa Brewing Company gets an 8 out of 10. The first rated beer on our Matty Vath 1 to 10 scale. Good. I'm proud of you.
I'm pretty, like, if you wanted to rate last week's on a 1 to 10.
That's what I was thinking you were doing.
Oh, I would give that like probably like a 20. I think that was amazing.
We got to work on your rating.
No, I love
No,
that.
we don't.
Like,
We're going to leave your...
I loved it. Like, if you give me something that I would go out and buy, I'm going to rank it higher than a 10. Like,
well, that's good.
I will give you something that if I'm not going to go buy it, then I will rank it 1 to 10. If I'm going to go buy it, like, this was, whatever that was last week, that was the Sandy Shore.
Lake Time Brewery.
Lake Time Brewery, Sandy Shore. I mean, it was absolutely delicious. Like, if I was out there buying beer and I'm like,
is a good beer.
You know what? I need to pick something up that's different. I'd like a 6-pack of that. I would pick that up first.
Bingo.
That 20. I think on a 1 to 10, I will give that
a 20. Okay.
a 20.
Coors Light 90. Sandy Shore 20. Zoinks 8.
Yes.
I'm seeing
Not that I wouldn't pick this up.
Yeah, but here's my thing. So when we do the rating, this is me learning where you're at. So then when I go shopping for you, one of these days you're going to come shopping with me. You're going to buy the beer, but that's okay. But I go shopping
what's
now.
the difference? And I'll gladly go with you because I don't want you to do all the work. But what's the difference if I go with you? Because I'm still going to be like, Peter,
you can pay for it.
What do I buy? Okay. Oh, that's where we're going. All right.
So on that note, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Again, before I let Matty get to his favorite phrase of all time, make sure, guys, you're hitting the comments. That's a big one. I know we're always asking for that. We will continue to ask for that. I don't care if it's the brand new episode or an episode 10 months from now. We're always going to ask for that. We'd love to see your input. We're trying to grow this, and your input is the most important. If you have a beer you think we'd like, a brewery you think we should check out, a brewery that you think we should partner with, or even a topic we should discuss, please reach out to us. You can comment on the YouTube videos. You can comment on our Facebook page. You can reach out to the Facebook Messenger. And you can email us at doublebspodcast@gmail.com. Now, for your instructional part of your video, I'm going to direct you to the mind of Mr. Matty Vath.
The comment
Matty,
part.
What should the people be doing?
Well, the comment part was part of it. It's always part of it.
Okay.
I understand. But you all know that when you get on YouTube and you listen to this, because it hits YouTube every Friday morning at 10 a.m., hits Spotify, Buzzsprout, and iTunes every morning at Friday at 10 a.m. There is the subscribe button, there is the like button, and there is, of course, the little bell with a notification on it that lets you get notifications when we drop new episodes every Friday. So
smack all three of them.
Be sure to do that.
Smack them.
But since Peter took the big part out of it, it's like, make sure you hit that comment button. It's like, tell us what you want. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want to hear. We love feedback all the time.
Listen, we rate beer. We rate beer on this, so we want you to rate us when you're listening to our episodes. So, guys, on that,
yes, you don't. Just tell us what we can do different too.
Yeah. We're only going to come up with so many ideas for what we're going to talk about. So you got to help us out. I mean, at some point, Maggie's like, guys, you need to come up with something else to talk about. So please help us out. We love it. We love doing this. I'll be honest. I have a blast doing these. We have
many of these conversations that are not on.
Yeah, and I think that's the best part. These are conversations we would have anyway. The difference being, now we have Maggie here to do the finger roll, like, okay, you're done. So, guys, on that note, we're going to get out of here. As always, cheers. Thank you guys for listening, and
we love you.
We look forward to seeing your comments.
Enjoy your day at work. I know it's Friday morning at 10 a.m., so have fun on your way to work. Have fun if you're at work already.
If you're at work, listen later. Thanks for listening, guys.
We appreciate it.
Cheers.
We love you. Have fun.